Welcome back to MBA Recaps, the podcast that makes business school lessons actually fun and free. Isn't it strange how some managers turn a ragtag group of employees into a high-performing team, while others suffocate potential under endless rules and bureaucracy? It's as if leadership is an art mastered by a select few, those who break the mold, defy the handbook, and toss conventional wisdom out the window. And that's exactly what First, Break All the Rules dares to reveal. The best managers in the world don't follow the script. They don't micromanage, fix weaknesses, or treat people equally. And that's precisely why they succeed. Think about the most frustrating boss you've ever had, the one who drowned you in checklists, crushed your creativity with rigid policies, and treated you like a replaceable cog in a machine. Now contrast that with the leader who saw your potential before you did, who let you run with an idea even when it was risky, who made you feel like your work actually mattered. The difference wasn't just personality, it was strategy. This book is shocking because it dismantles everything we've been taught about leadership. It proves that great managers don't try to fix employees, they amplify their strengths. They don't enforce one-size-fits-all rules, they tailor their approach to the individual. And they certainly don't obsess over experience and credentials. They hire for something far more powerful: raw talent. Take, for example, a restaurant manager who never hires servers based on experience. Instead, she looks for one thing: an unmistakable spark, the kind of energy that makes a customer feel welcomed before a single word is spoken. She can teach someone how to carry a tray or memorize a menu, but she knows you can't train enthusiasm, charisma, or genuine warmth. Meanwhile, her competitor, stuck in traditional hiring methods, chooses applicants with years of experience but no passion. One restaurant thrives, the other struggles. The difference? One manager understands the unteachable. Or picture a sales director who doesn't force his team to follow a rigid, outdated script. Instead, he studies each person's natural selling style. Some excel at storytelling, others at rapid-fire logic, and a few simply win clients over with charm. Instead of flattening their differences, he refines them. His team isn't a pack of clones, regurgitating the same tired pitch. They're individuals playing to their strengths, and that's why they close more deals than anyone else. And yet, most organizations continue to operate on outdated beliefs. They push generic training programs, enforce strict protocols, and reward conformity over creativity. But if rules alone created success, bureaucracies would be the most innovative places on earth. They aren't. The best leaders, the ones who build unstoppable teams, break the rules. They rewrite them. They understand that people aren't interchangeable parts. They're complex, unpredictable, and, when managed correctly, incredibly powerful. So why do so many companies still get it wrong? Why do managers continue to rely on flawed systems that drain motivation and kill potential? And more importantly, if the greatest managers in the world are breaking the rules, why aren't you? Imagine trying to navigate a city using a century-old map, one that still marks horse-drawn carriage routes and gas lamp streets. That's exactly how most businesses operate when it comes to management. They rely on outdated, one-size-fits-all leadership models, assuming that treating employees equally means treating them effectively. But Gallup's groundbreaking research proves otherwise. For over 25 years, Gallup studied more than 1 million employees and 80,000 managers across diverse industries, searching for the elusive formula behind great management. They weren't looking for feel-good theories or catchy slogans. They wanted hard data. And what they found was both shocking and unmistakable. The most effective managers don't just bend the rules of traditional leadership, they break them entirely. Take a step back and think about what most companies get wrong. They promote employees into management roles based on tenure or technical expertise, assuming that a star performer will naturally make a great leader. But Gallup's research exposes this as a fatal mistake. In reality, only 1 in 10 people possesses the innate talent to manage, the ability to motivate, build trust, and align individuals with their strengths. The rest, they struggle, often turning into micromanagers who either stifle creativity or rule with indifference. The data also shattered another myth, the idea that fixing weaknesses leads to success. Traditional management preaches that employees should work on their shortcomings, patch their gaps, and fit into rigid roles. But Gallup found that the best managers don't obsess over what people lack. They maximize what they do best. They hire for talent, not experience, and they don't waste time forcing people into boxes that don't fit. Imagine two managers hiring for the same customer service role. One follows the traditional approach, scanning resumes for industry experience, ticking off boxes, and asking predictable interview questions. The other, they look for an entirely different set of qualities: natural empathy, quick thinking, and a genuine ability to make people feel heard. Which employee do you think will create raving customers? Which team do you think will thrive? The answer is obvious, yet so many companies still get it wrong. And here's the real kicker. Gallup found that employee engagement, whether someone loves or loathes their job, boils down to one thing: their direct manager. Not salary, not perks, not even company culture. 70% of the variance in team engagement is tied directly to the manager. That means that an inspired, well-led team can outperform a disengaged team by miles, even with the same resources. And yet, most businesses continue to focus on systems and policies instead of the one thing that actually makes or breaks performance: who's leading the team. It all boils down to this. The best managers defy conventional leadership wisdom. They break away from bureaucracy, ignore outdated playbooks, and focus on what actually drives people: individual strengths, meaningful recognition, and the freedom to perform in their own way. And if that makes them rule breakers, so be it. Most managers treat leadership like following a recipe. Step 1, set expectations. Step 2, monitor performance. Step 3, correct weaknesses. But the best managers don't follow a script. They throw out the corporate cookbook and rewrite the rules. They understand that managing people is not about compliance, it's about unlocking human potential. Gallup's research revealed 4 radical yet undeniable truths about great management. These principles don't just challenge conventional thinking, they expose why most managers fail and why a select few create high-performing, engaged teams. 1. Hire for talent, not just skills or experience. Picture 2 job candidates. One has years of experience, a perfectly polished resume, and all the right degrees. The other, no formal experience, but a natural ability to connect with people, think on their feet, and inspire confidence. Who gets the job? In a traditional company, it's the first candidate, because experience is easy to measure, and hiring managers love a safe bet. But great managers know that experience doesn't predict excellence. Talent does. You can train someone to operate software or follow a process, but you can't teach raw talent, that spark that makes someone exceptional. That's why the best managers ignore resumes as a primary filter. They look deeper. A legendary example? A car dealership in Florida once stopped hiring based on automotive experience and instead looked for one thing: genuine charisma. They brought in former bartenders, social workers, and teachers, people who had never sold a car in their life. The result? Sales skyrocketed. Because customers don't buy cars from someone who knows engines inside out. They buy from someone who understands them. Lesson: when hiring, stop looking for experience as a crutch. Instead, ask, does this person have the natural talent that will make them exceptional in this role? 2. Individualized management. One size does not fit all. Most companies build leadership playbooks that assume people are interchangeable parts, as if the same management style works on everyone. But people are not cogs in a machine. They are unpredictable, emotional, and driven by vastly different motivations. The best managers don't treat everyone equally. They treat everyone uniquely. Imagine a sales manager with 2 top performers. One thrives on competition and wants to be the best. The other is driven by collaboration and loves solving client problems. If this manager tries to motivate them the same way, say, with leaderboard rankings and aggressive targets, one will excel, but the other will disengage. Great managers tailor their leadership to the individual. They learn what fuels each person and create an environment where their natural motivations flourish. Lesson: instead of applying a blanket leadership style, ask, what does this person need to thrive? 3. Define outcomes, not processes. Traditional managers love rules. They dictate how a job should be done, create rigid workflows, and demand strict adherence to procedures. But rules don't drive excellence. Freedom does. The best managers don't micromanage how people work. They set clear outcomes and let employees find their own best way. Think about how most workplaces handle remote work. A conventional manager sets rigid schedules, requiring employees to log in at 9 a.m. sharp and follow predefined checklists. But a great manager? They simply define the result. I need this project completed by Friday. How the employee gets there? That's up to them. This autonomy is not just about comfort, it's about results. A software company once experimented by removing its fixed work hours. Instead of tracking time, they measured productivity and deadlines met. The result? Productivity didn't drop, it soared. Because when people own their work, they work smarter. Lesson: stop focusing on controlling the process. Instead, define clear outcomes and give people the freedom to achieve them their way. 4. Employee engagement is a manager's responsibility. Most companies assume that engagement, whether employees love or hate their jobs, is about perks, culture, or salaries. It's not. Gallup's research found that engagement is almost entirely determined by one thing: the employee's direct manager. A bad manager can make a dream job unbearable. A great manager can turn even a mundane role into a mission. Consider this: 2 engineers work at the same company, same salary, same office, same benefits. One is miserable, unmotivated, and actively looking for a new job. The other, excited, engaged, and outperforming expectations. What's the difference? Their manager. Great managers build engagement by doing 4 things. They make expectations crystal clear. No ambiguity, no guessing. They provide the right resources, tools, training, and support so employees aren't set up to fail. They ensure employees play to their strengths every day, not forcing square pegs into round holes. They offer regular recognition and praise, not once a year, but constantly. Lesson: if your employees are disengaged, the problem isn't the job, it's the management. What do all these lessons have in common? They reject conventional wisdom. They prove that the best managers aren't rule followers. They're rule breakers who understand what actually drives performance. So the real question isn't whether these strategies work. The data proves they do. The real question is, are you brave enough to break the rules? The role of recognition and retention. Imagine working tirelessly on a project, late nights, extra effort, solving problems no one else noticed, only for it to go completely unnoticed. No thank you, no acknowledgement, just silence. It stings, doesn't it? Now picture a different scenario. The same work, the same effort, but this time, your manager pulls you aside, looks you in the eye, and says, "I see what you did there. That was brilliant. This team is stronger because of you." Which workplace would you stay in? Recognition isn't just a feel-good bonus. It's the glue that keeps top talent from walking out the door. And yet, most companies treat it as an afterthought. Gallup's research proves that recognition is one of the most powerful drivers of employee engagement and retention. But here's the kicker: it has to be frequent, specific, and meaningful, not some generic once-a-year formality. 1. Why employees really leave, and why it's almost always avoidable. Companies spend millions trying to fix turnover, exit interviews, retention bonuses, workplace perks, but they keep missing the root cause. People don't leave jobs, they leave managers. Think of a time when you quit a job. Was it really because of salary, or was it because you felt overlooked, unappreciated, like your work didn't matter? Gallup found that lack of recognition is one of the top reasons employees quit, even more than money. It's not that people need constant praise, they need to know their work has impact. Case in point, a financial analyst at a large firm was about to resign. His work was technical, precise, and largely unnoticed. But on his last week, his manager gave him one piece of feedback. "You've made our forecasting models sharper than ever. We rely on you more than you know." That single comment made him reconsider his decision. Not because of a raise, not because of a new policy, because someone finally saw him. Number 2, the psychology of recognition. Why it works. Recognition isn't just nice, it's scientific. It triggers the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, the same neurotransmitter linked to motivation and learning. It reinforces positive behavior, making employees want to keep excelling. But here's where most managers fail. They wait too long. Recognition should be frequent, not annual. They make it generic. "Good job" is forgettable. "The way you handled that difficult client today was impressive. Your patience turned the whole conversation around" is memorable. They assume money is enough. Paychecks keep people employed. Recognition makes them stay. Consider this. In one study, Employees who received recognition at least once every 7 days were 5 times more likely to be engaged than those who didn't. That's the difference between a team that runs on autopilot and one that's actively invested in its work. 3. How great managers build a culture of recognition. Recognition isn't a box to check, it's a culture, and the best managers weave it into daily interactions, making it part of how they lead. Here's how they do it. A. They make praise, specific and personal. Bad recognition. Thanks for your hard work. Good recognition. I noticed how you stepped in during the client call today. Your ability to de-escalate that issue saved us a major headache. B. They give recognition publicly and privately. Some employees love public shout-outs. Others prefer a private word of appreciation. The best managers know the difference and tailor recognition accordingly. C. They tie recognition to strengths. A great manager doesn't just say, "Great job." They say, "Your attention to detail and strategic thinking made this project a success." This reinforces why someone is valuable. D. They make recognition frequent, not just a once-a-year event. Think about sports teams. Do coaches wait until the end of the season to praise their players? No, they do it in the moment when it matters most. Before, retention, the hidden cost of neglecting recognition. Let's talk about the financial cost of losing an employee. Studies show that replacing an employee costs anywhere from 50% to 200% of their annual salary, depending on their role. And yet, most companies focus more on recruiting new talent than keeping the great talent they already have. Now imagine this scenario. 2 employees are equally skilled, equally paid, equally productive, but one has a manager who recognizes their contributions regularly. The other, left in the dark, unnoticed. Which one do you think starts job hunting first? It's not rocket science. People stay where they feel valued. They leave when they don't. The power of "I see you." The world's best managers understand that recognition isn't optional, it's a leadership necessity. A simple "I see you" can transform an employee's outlook, making them feel not just useful, but indispensable. So if you're a leader, ask yourself, when was the last time you made someone feel truly seen? Because in the end, the teams that thrive aren't the ones with the highest salaries or the biggest perks. They're the ones led by managers who understand that the most powerful currency in leadership isn't money, it's appreciation. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. Great managers don't follow the rules, they rewrite them. They don't micromanage, obsess over weaknesses, or treat employees like interchangeable parts. Instead, they focus on talent, strengths, recognition, and outcomes, the things that actually drive performance. But knowing these insights isn't enough. The real challenge is application. How do you take these ideas and embed them into your leadership style? How do you break old habits, challenge outdated company policies, and create a workplace where people actually want to stay and thrive? Let's get practical. 1. Shift your hiring mindset. Talent over experience. Next time you're hiring, ask yourself, am I looking for skills or am I looking for talent? Action step. Rewrite one of your job descriptions to focus on innate qualities instead of technical qualifications. For example, instead of "must have 5 years of customer service experience," try "seeking a natural problem solver who thrives on making people feel heard and valued." Challenge. During your next interview, spend less time discussing past job titles and more time uncovering natural strengths. 2. Manage people as individuals, not as a group. Your employees are not the same, so why manage them like they are? The best leaders tailor their approach to each person's strengths, motivations, and personality. Action step. This week, schedule one-on-one meetings with your team, not to talk about work tasks, but to understand what energizes them, what frustrates them, how do they like to receive feedback and recognition. Challenge. At your next team meeting, make a conscious effort to adjust your leadership style based on what you've learned about each person. 3. Set outcomes, not processes. Stop dictating how your team should work and start defining what success looks like. Give them the destination, but let them choose the route. Action step. Identify one rigid rule or outdated process in your workplace. Ask yourself, is this really necessary, or can I give my team more freedom? Example, instead of "emails must be responded to within 1 hour," try "our priority is excellent client communication." Find a response rhythm that keeps clients happy without unnecessary stress. Challenge. In your next project, delegate without prescribing the method. Let your team find their own way to success. 4. Make recognition a habit, not an afterthought. Recognition doesn't cost a thing, but failing to give it could cost you your best employees. Action step. Set a goal to recognize at least one team member per day, not for generic hard work, but for something specific they did well. Example, instead of, "Great job on that report," try, "Your report was not only thorough, but also incredibly easy to understand." That clarity will help the entire team make better decisions. Challenge. Start meetings by highlighting one team win from the past week. Watch how the energy shifts. 5. Own your role in employee engagement. If you're a manager, you are the biggest factor in your team's engagement. Not HR, not company policies. You. Action step. Take Gallup's 12-question engagement test for yourself. Are you giving your employees clear expectations, opportunities to use their strengths, and frequent recognition? Challenge. Pick one area where you're falling short and commit to improving it this month. The courage to lead differently. Most managers won't do this. They'll stick to outdated methods, follow rigid policies, and wonder why their teams feel disengaged. But you have a choice. You can be the leader who sees talent before resumes, treats employees as individuals, gives people autonomy, and recognizes strengths instead of fixing weaknesses. You can be the reason someone stays, grows, and thrives. So the real question is, are you willing to break the rules to build something better?